you do the pelvic assessment last on the vaginal exam. So you first assess the rest, then you do the pelvic assessment last. Number 2, you need to go in posterior of the cervix. You can even follow that curve. Me, I've felt the promontory. I don't know whether, but you need to feel it. It's just a prominence. You will feel it, right? Now, when you go in, I've told you there are three diameters. One from the promontory to the upper border. Promontory, inner border. Promontory, lower. This one of the upper, we can't determine it. And it is the true conjugate. The one from the upper border to the inner border is the obstetric. And that is the most important. And then lastly is the diagonal conjugate. So the only thing we can examine for is the diagonal conjugate. But we thank Allah that the diagonal conjugate can help us get the obstetric conjugate. You get it?
Formula. You add something or
you add
or subtract?
Or subtract a certain, which you're going to tell me. You understand? So, mother is there. You need to know. For example, me with my long fingers, I can go in and tip. Tipping means you've touched it. Eh? It means you've what? Touched it. So when I touch it like this, I want to estimate how many centimeters. That's why for real clinical assessment, you need to get like a mark. Then you remove, get your tape measure, take this length. You say on VE, sacropromontory or diagonal conjugate at 13 centimeters. Now, if the diagonal conjugate is 13 centimeters, the obstetric is
11.
11.5.
No.
you subtract 1.5. So what is it?
11.5.
What?
11.5.
If it is 11.5, and remember we said the average is 9.5. So we have 11.5 and this is 9.5.
No, it's not
Adequate.
adequate. Adequate. The gel can go through.
Remember, you're just using the average.
Yes.
It can be that the baby is big and the average is 10 point. You get it?
Yes. Maybe the baby more, maybe.
Exactly. So if Khadija goes in and does not tip, for her she goes and her fingers stop, it is here, the fingers have stopped there, so she's supposed to say diagonal conjugate not tipped, I mean sacropromontory not tipped at 9 centimeters. So if you say you've not tipped, you've not touched it at 9 centimeters, then you say if the baby is 9.5, I've not tipped it at 9, maybe the babies will go through because I've not touched it at 9. So maybe it is more. It is more. So that's a mother you can give time. You're getting what I'm saying?
Yes.
So when you're doing pelvic assessment, I don't want to see you say pelvic adequate. You have to write those things and tell us that I think this pelvis is adequate. Why? Because I've got the diagonal conjugate at these centimeters. For me, if I tip this sacropromontory at 10 centimeters, that means the obstetric is 8.5. So that one, I'll say this is a contracted pelvis. But remember, the baby may be small.
We give it time.
Give her time. But if you realize now the head is not entering, it is stuck 6 hours, the head is still at descent 4,
Or cupboard is formed.
or caput is forming,
Iconium is
then
there.
you will confirm this is. Now that's where your CPD comes from. Cephalopelvic disproportion. What is causing the cephalopelvic disproportion? The pelvis. The pelvis. That means the pelvis is smaller than the baby.
Okay, if you have a short finger, what's the solution?
If you have short fingers, I've told you.
That's what you have been
If
discussing.
she has short fingers and she's able to tip, she says, I've tipped the sacropromontory at 8. That is contracted.
No, if you don't tip
But
the-
if you don't, even if I don't tip, I say I've not tipped at 12 centimeters. That tells me that my diagonal is actually more than 12. So if I say 12 minus 1.5, I'm getting 9.5, but I left some space. So that is an adequate pelvis.
you have a short finger.
So if you have, if I've answered that, if she has not tipped at 8 centimeters, yeah, if she has not tipped at 8 centimeters, meaning if you subtract 8 minus 7 minus 1.5, what do you get? 6.5. But remember, she has not tipped it.
Maybe wider.
So you may add in the space. You may add in. But if she tips it with her short fingers, tips it at 8, that takes you to 6.5.
It's contracted.
So it may be very difficult for her to diagnose
Assessment.
adequate pelvis,
Yes.
but it is very easy for her
Contracted.
to diagnose contracted pelvis.
Yes.
For me, it is very easy for me to diagnose contracted.
No,
Adequate.
Adequate.
Adequate. Adequate. Adequate, yes.
So you see, I can tip it, but still say this is adequate. You get it?
Yes.
But if with my long fingers, I fail to tip it,
It's wider.
that is
very
wide.
wide.
Any child can go through that.
Yes.
Yes.
Even if the baby is very
Even if it is like this is size.
So for me, if I can't tip it, automatically I say this is adequate.
Adequate. And they have
So
no
the rest,
adequate.
whatever will cause the seizure will be something different. Either malposition, that is inlet. Outlet. My professor used to say that once the inlet is okay, there is no contracted pelvis. But you can have issues with the mid cavity. Now, with the mid cavity, the inlet is basically that. Get the diagonal conjugate, estimate the centimeters, if you have tipped, subtract. If you have not tipped, you get it.
yes.
I've had even professors who say, this is a contracted pelvis, sent to theatre. As the woman is there putting her on the table, baby comes out. That takes you back to what I told you, that the best assessor of the pelvis is not Augustine, not Bernard, not Awale, not Professor who. It's the fetus. But for you, you can use a few things to guide you. That is what? Inlet. Mid cavity. Mid cavity is subjective. There is no measurement. But when you go in, you want to assess how the sacrum is well curved. A good sacrum should be well curved. It should have, because remember we said that in the mid cavity, which one is the longest diameter? It's the AP, because the ischial spines make that's why the baby enters like this, then has to turn. Because in the mid cavity, the AP is what? Longer than this. Are you getting it? You didn't get consent to get this. So, anyway, for the mid cavity, use your 2 fingers, try to feel how curved. If it is straight, just write it in the notes that the sacral curve is not good. Or you say the sacral curve is good. You feel it is curved, meaning it creates room for the what? Epi. The next one is this sciatic notch. So you have to use your two fingers and see if two fingers can fit in that notch. Now you're seeing this pelvis like this. There are no tissues, but remember there are tissues here. So you just have to go laterally and feel it. Me, I know how to feel it. Just follow this curve, laterally. You will feel the two.
Hello.
Right? We have to leave this
Okay,
place, otherwise
if
rain.
I feel it is contracted.
Huh?
Please press the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, share with your friends. Thank you.